We all go a little mad sometimes.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
They're here.
Hi.
Well, hello.
Yes, it is. I'm Lee, and I want to be in the sequel.
You want to be in this sequel?
As in, I want to live. I don't want to watch this movie again.
And I'm Nathan, and yeah, I don't want to be in the sequel either.
And you're listening to
They're here.
Podcast.
Pootcast.
It's P-J-O umlaut D-C-A-S-T. And podcast.
So, a podcast where we discuss, dissect, and destroy.
Watch movies like this, where I perform acts of self-harm by way of movie. So, Nathan, I just have one question for you before we start this.
Go.
Why did you make me watch this fucking movie?
Listen, when you get to pick the movie, you don't get to fucking bitch and moan. We don't hear me bitch and moan about the movies you choose, and don't say just because they're good movies.
If they were bad movies, you would complain about them.
I complained about Raw.
Because you were grossed out, not because it was poorly made. No, look, I have to give, like, artistic credit where it's due. Like, these people made a movie. I've never made a movie.
Well, I mean, like, before we just get into the whole shitting on this movie, let's just name the goddamn thing before you get into 6 out of 10. Jesus, I'm just reading the IMDb page here. 6 out of 10. Jesus Christ.
6 out of 10 what, though?
Stars.
Okay.
Rolling heads. Rolling eyes.
Alright, an audible eye roll has entered the chat.
So we're talking about 2008, The Cottage. I decided to this film because it popped into my head. This is the type of film, it's directed by Paul Andrew Willams. It's got Andy Serkis in it. It's, Andy Serkis. He's Gollum. And those other roles that he's played as a monkey. You got Peter, you've got Reece Shearsmith, who plays Peter, his brother, who is one of the disgusting trio who came up with, the League of Gentlemen, which is...
I love it. I was so happy to see him here.
So we're not going to talk about the movie, we'll just talk about the League of Gentlemen.
I actually would love to one day, just like very quick side note, I would love to actually kind of cover that series in some way, shape or form, because it's creepy as fuck, genuinely.
Cool story, bro. So then you have Jennifer Ellison, who plays Tracy, who we thought was Baby Spice. You thought she was Baby Spice, but you were wrong.
She looks like Emma Bunton a little bit.
She looks
From
like
watching the trailer, I thought it was Emma Bunton.
She looks like it, but she ain't.
No, she fucking isn't.
She fucking isn't. God, I love that accent. There's just something about it. Is it Geordie? I can't tell. Is it Geordie or is it...
I think it's Liverpool.
Liverpool. Yeah, it's Liverpool for sure. We also have Stephen O'Donnell, who plays Andrew, which is the stepbrother of Tracy, who's like, he's more so the comedic relief in this film, which I love because...
Stepbro has been kidnapped by two kind of famous British stars.
Great. I'm just killing you on this. He was in Shakespeare in Love, and he was in A Knight's Tale, surprisingly, and he was in Spice Up Your Life, the Spice Girls movie,
which also turns 25 this year.
We are not retrospecting fucking Spice Girls the world tour. We're not doing that shit. That ain't gonna happen. You hear me? It ain't happening. It ain't happening.
Yeah, I'll link in the description for my Spice Girls podcast, I guess. Then.
And then you have as this surprisingly, what the fuck is going on with his face? Dave Lagino, who plays the farmer in this movie. Like, if you don't know who he is, look him up. He's really good. He played I was just talking about this. It was really surprising because, like, of course, like, there's a huge amount of makeup over his face, but he was playing the farmer, of course, but he was also Fenrir Greyback in the Harry Potter movies, and he played one of the big like intimidating travelers in the Snatch, or just Snatch. But the Snatch. I loved it. And then surprisingly we have Doug Bradley in this, who's Pinhead.
For maybe 3 seconds.
And like, I did look at it and I was like, I do know this person. I was like, I've seen this person somewhere before. And then I was like, oh, it's fucking Doug Bradley.
Fucking Pinhead. He was on set for like probably a half hour. And this was like, I guarantee that the set was like 5 minutes walk from his front door.
I literally was about to say that. He saw them filming outside. He was like, go on, stick us in. Go on.
Yeah. It's Andy. It's Andy and your man from League of Gentlemen. Sure I will. I'll pop in. Shall I? Tear yourself apart and all that.
So, like, when we talk about this film, like, this film is, how do I say it? Like, along the lines of... It's not bad. Not by no means is it bad. I think if you want a good, shite British horror comedy that tries its hand at being... It tries its hand at being like something along the lines of Shaun of the Dead, but it joins that kind of, how do I say it? It joins that like league of like films like Doghouse and Severance. You remember those films?
Yeah, I do. It's the BBC has decided to make a spooky episode or something for Halloween.
Yes.
EastEnders has gone spooky for one episode.
Yeah.
You know, Hollyoaks has really gone postal in this one. But
oh my god!
Look, we're both allowed to have two varying opinions on this on this movie. Look, honestly though, I think that like this, obviously this movie is not done with like, right guys, let's make like a movie and like have people take it seriously. It's obviously done with kind of like a wink wink, nudge nudge kind of like sentiment to it. But like, I just think I just think like some of it kind of like, I don't know, fell a little bit flat for me.
Okay, right. State your reasons. Go for it. Tell me why.
The comedy just
and I'll tell you why you're wrong.
It just seems like really, really like jilted. Also, for the first like hour, I was like, is this even a horror movie? Like, where the fuck is the like, what's the like horror element to this? Thus far, it's just like, I don't know, the first 10 minutes are from dusk till dawn. They've just kidnapped a girl.
It's so funny you should mention that, because that's exactly what I was thinking as like part of this. Like, it's very much that slow character build up, and then everything hits the fan after, you know what I mean?
Okay.
But like, Tarantino does it successfully, you know, whereas this film tries its hand at being that, and necessarily it doesn't work in that way. But I did think, like, and we've said this before on the channel, that we do appreciate not using the trope of having boyfriend, girlfriend, married couple trope in a horror movie, like the brotherly love thing aspect in this film does it service, because Andy Serkis and Reece Shearsmith, they do work well together. They really do. And I appreciate it, because like I feel like I'm trying to defend this now to you, but it's
you can like, I'm not saying like ooh she has shitty taste or something like that. Like, if you enjoy this movie, like go ahead.
Yeah.
Also, we haven't seen this movie at all. This is like first thoughts. Usually when we do an episode, we have kind of like a pre-episode kind of, I don't know, chat, small discussion before we go in. But this is like the first time we're both hearing each other's thoughts really on the episode.
Yeah. Now it does the service of the great, it does great character writing. I do appreciate this, because they are setting up the whole, like, well, literally the plot is they've kidnapped this girl for some, like, you know, pimp / drug dealer, whoever. It's never really clear. And they're basically like using her as bait to hostage situation to get money, because their dead mother has left the house to one of the brothers, and then the other one wants the house. So the only reason why they're taking the money is because the other one wants to buy the other person off. I just think it's really good.
It's her stepdad that they're like trying to bargain with.
Yeah, I think it does it really well, in the sense that you get the character flaws across for each person very, very quickly. Reece's character, who's kind of partially known as some bald mother in this movie.
Yeah, they use some really weird, like, because he's not like bald in real life, but like they do like a thing where they just have like chunks of hair missing off the top of his head in this movie.
Yeah,
it's crazy. He's bald from certain angles.
And like they don't do him justice. They give him this weird fear of moths. They give him like, they break his nose, they break his not break his knee, but she breaks his ankle or something like that, and she smashes his head into the toilet seat and shit. He just doesn't have a good time during this movie. Andy Serkis's character does, David, really does come across as like, I know what the fuck I'm doing, and I'm really kind of pushing for the tough guy act, but he, like, secretly down under, he's like this kind of softy, and he's like, you have to come across as intimidating rather than actually being intimidating. And I like it. I like the kind of back and forth that they have. There's this moment where he's making the tea, and like the kettle is like filling up super loud, and he just stops talking for a good like 15 seconds while the pot fills up.
I'm glad you had a good time watching this movie.
Oh wow.
Now, I think the first 15 minutes where it's just
it's character building,
the start or whatever like that, it's good. You know, like their little like kind of like banter together is like, it's cute, because like we have said like kind of a million times on the pod that like I love the interaction and the dynamic that a non-romantic relationship brings into a horror movie.
Yeah.
Like when it's family or something like that. That's why I think I like Dead End and all that kind of stuff, because it's like family stuff. Yeah. You know, the family in peril. But yeah, I actually thought their little kind of like banter back and forth was quite cute. Yeah, I suppose it's lucky that these are like the kind of two main characters, and they're the two that we get like on screen for most of the time. They're also fully top billed, because they're like the two that you probably know for something else.
Yeah.
Like Jennifer Ellison, I guess, like because I had said, like even just before we started recording, I was like, I know her from stuff, but I think I just know her from like her being on TV.
Yeah.
You know, I also think she used to be like a glamour model, like kind of a Katie Price kind of page 3 kind of thing.
The nipples are the eyes of the face.
Do you remember page 3?
No.
Are you serious? Do you remember when you used to open a newspaper and on the 3rd page there would just be like a naked lady?
No, not really.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it's like a weird cultural moment. Like, you used to be able to pick up, like, I think it was like the Sun and stuff like that. And if you opened up to page 3, there was just, it was Katie Price or fucking Jodie Marsh or some shit like that, just like there were tits out. Are you serious? You don't remember this at all?
No, I think I have. I think I miraculously.
Never read the newspaper.
No. I mean, when I was reading news, it was sent to me by some traveler from a foreign land. You know, crossing.
Falcon's wing.
Yeah.
Like Falcon. Yeah.
All right, Tangent St. James, Laulerie, Dupree, Delacroix, Versace.
Okay. Let's get into this.
Right, so this plot develops. How can I say this? It develops very slowly.
I'm gonna have to defend this fucking movie. You really are.
Look, listen, you want an easy giggle with a laugh to watch a movie. This is kind of one of your... Don't watch this. I think it's a movie that you should throw on. It is a movie.
In your opinion, yeah.
It resonates in my head specifically just because it's that era of the of the mid 2000s that was like it tried to do something serious with humor thrown in, and I think that's mainly because Reece Shearsmith was in it. I think there were scenes where he was meant to be scared or things like that, but he comes across as still being funny. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing, is like I feel like the kind of like the League of Gentlemen and stuff like that. I mean, like it's not like he just stepped out of one of those episodes into this. It's like the comedy is kind of different.
Yeah.
Whereas like I enjoy this kind of comedy in League of Gentlemen because like the entire thing is about that. Like it's comedy forward and horror kind of second. But like with this, I feel like they were like, okay, let's make a horror movie and then put funny people in it. I don't know why I just did funny people in air quotes there, because I do like these people like in this movie, just outside of this movie. But
you're just like, fuck this movie.
So it's like this movie kind of like performed what I consider to be the cardinal sin of a movie, where I was just kind of bored.
True. Okay, I can see why. It does take a long time for it to get to where it's going. I will give it that.
That seems to happen. It only becomes a horror movie in the last like couple of minutes.
Yeah.
And like the horror is never like referred to, or there's no like because like, okay, like take like Hellraiser for example, right? We don't actually get a lot of horror straight away, but we get the idea of like, we get little small glimpses of like Frank, and then we get the idea that like, okay, there's B plots going on, but like the horror shit is like, it's brewing away.
Yeah.
But with this, it's like I literally like zoomed out, had to look at the genre and everything to be like, is this even a horror movie? Because where's the horror part to it? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think if they literally took that conceit of it being the first 10 minutes of From Dusk Till Dawn, where it's like a hostage situation, and they just dragged that out over the span of an hour and a half, but made it so intense, because you feel scared for that lady in From Dusk Till Dawn, because she's left with Quentin Tarantino's character, who is genuinely kind of like off the wall.
Yeah.
But with this, it's like there's never sense of danger for anybody.
Yeah.
Even at the end, where fucking David or whatever gets his foot cut off, you're like, okay. You know, like there's no sense of like threat or anything in this movie.
Yeah, I suppose. I think where you get where you get that sense is like just more so to the fact that these are just a bunch of bumbling idiots, like kind of fumbling around in the dark while trying to put together a plot to get money. You know what I mean? Like that's how it comes across. And I think the fact that it's it is, to me, it does come across as a very character driven. Like the whole first half is very character driven.
It's so fucking hard for this movie. It's a character piece, It's very, very character driven.
Yeah. All right. So, if I had to drive the plot of this film, I would have them like because like what they had was essentially they walk into, again, it's another home invasion thing where like they fucking walk straight into your man's house. Not, you know what I mean? I would have had that like very much them just like, oh, this looks like a good place, let's have the hostage there, and the farmer comes back. That would have been a better, quicker way of putting this two, like, plot A and plot B together,
It just seemed like two movies that people tried to like smush together.
Yeah.
If they had moved the last half an hour up by like an hour, and like seriously, if you just introduced the horror sooner, I think I would have been able to have. No, we'll get to it. I fell asleep during this movie, which doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. But I was bored. But if the kidnapping and all that kind of stuff was incidental, that was just kind of like we stumble in on that, and then like she's tied up, all that kind of stuff. That's the kind of dynamic that's going on, and then the horror like happens, and then they kind of have to form like a little trio. I think I would have been three. I had to count that out for you. I think I would have enjoyed the little dynamic better, because at the end where she and David kind of it ends up just being the two of them going around the farm or whatever like that. I kind of like their little banter together, but if that had just happened a little sooner, I think they focus way too much on the kidnapping and the ransom and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And it just becomes an episode of like Holby City or some shit. I don't fucking know. It does though. It's just they focus way too much on like it's like they don't know their audience, where it's like people are here. Like if you look at the cover looks like a Texas Chainsaw movie or something like that. It's like just you can't leave like every horror element until the very end, because there's no like suggestion of horror or anything like that up until literally I think the two guys out in the car are dead. I think that's literally the first suggestion, and that's like 45 minutes into the movie.
Yeah. Well, that's actually something I did want to talk about, because so there's two things in this film that kind of particularly really kind of pushed the whole, this was made to... There was these two things that really kind of stand out to me, like, oh yeah, three things that really stand out to me in this film that tells me this was a very mid-2000s movie.
2008 casual racism is this.
So the first thing is the casual like sexism that goes on, which is like your man can't keep his eyes off your one's tits while she's unconscious. So there's that. Yeah. Then there's the second thing is obviously the two very racist caricatures of, what did she say that was like Chinese or Korean? They're quote unquote Asians.
Underlined, that's it.
So like yeah, real racist types, like super like
they're Asian with like meat cleavers and like a jacket that's got like a tiger on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like I literally have the note saying two Chinese men, real racist type, accent, acting super weird, and silk dragon jackets. Like I was looking at it going like, oh god, this is just so awkward to watch. Oh.
But in my mind, look, this is gonna sound terrible. if you're gonna have racism in your movie, make it funny, you know. But like to me, it was just like after those two characters died, it was just kind of like, what the fuck were they even in this movie?
Yeah.
Who were they? Why were they there?
Yeah.
Because they were like a C plot on top of a B plot. Because they weren't involved with. Because they weren't there to get the girl back. I don't think.
No.
They were like, make a survey and go see how many people are in the house. Okay, well, why? Why though?
So, like, from what I gather, like, essentially what they had done is, so the reason why the whole plot is, like, the I don't know, the drug dealer / pimp knows where his daughter is because David, yeah, like, he basically, like, blabs it all to his hairdresser, so they get it from the hairdresser, who is the guy who's tied up in the back seat. And they're basically there to find out, like, how many people are in the house and, like, what to do and where to... And they just repeatedly, on the phone, they're basically, like, talking to the boss the whole time. They're like, what do you want us to do with, you know, them and some bald mother out the front? Like, it's just so weird. And, like, you just... Like, if you had cut out them from the film altogether... Yeah, exactly. It wouldn't have made a difference.
For maybe 5 minutes, not even. They're maybe on screen for like 2.5 minutes total.
Yeah.
You know, like it has nothing to do with anything. This movie, man, this movie fucking ruined my day.
And then,
so yeah.
The last thing that really does show its age is this one kind of throwaway line that Tracy says when she finds out who David is. She's like, oh, I fucking know who you are. And she like goes like, you and your whole queer boy family, you're gonna break your knees. And I was like, oh God.
Not being offended when it comes to the queers, Nathan. Let us do that. That's our job. but fucking hell, this. Also, okay, I tire of her very, very, very quickly in this movie, right? And everybody knows that, like, I love women in movies. I love women in a horror movie. I love chicks who are like badass or whatever. But I found this chick so annoying where I was like, I fucking get it, bro. Like, fucking hell. You know? Like, all she does in this movie, the only thing she does in this movie is say fuck. The entire time. But she doesn't say fuck, she's fuck.
Fuck.
You know, and she is from Liverpool. I just looked it up there. But fucking hell, man. And I think she's wearing like a velour tracksuit or some shit like that the whole time. What in the 2008? Every phone in this movie has buttons on it.
She's got Uggs on and everything just to confirm it.
And look, okay, so David is like the main character, I guess.
Yeah.
For me at least, because like I don't know, Andy Serkis and him kind of share screen. They share screen time quite well, but it seems like the plot more so revolves around Peter rather. Sorry, I was calling him David.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like him most because he has, I think, the most to do. He seems like the most fully fleshed out character because he has like. It's inferred that he like has a family and that he actually like kind of has like a relatively normal life, and he doesn't like do this often, but he's just doing this so that they can like get themselves out of a situation. And I kind of like his little like hold on, I'm gonna call now because she'll be putting the kids to bed, so it'll go straight to machine and I won't actually have to talk about it or whatever like that.
Yeah,
you know. He's worried about, like, fuck, how am I going to explain a broken nose? Like, when I get home and I'm covered in blood, all this kind of stuff, you know? I thought it was, like, cute. And he's like, you're making me smoke. I don't usually smoke. So
yeah.
he's just, like, smoking a bunch of cigarettes. But he does this really cute thing, which is, like, I don't know, again, you would usually kind of see it in, like, kind of a romantic way. But, like, when he goes to pass David a cigarette, he, like, takes a pull of it first and then passes him the lit cigarette. I don't know, I always find that, like cute or like nice, but yeah, I like it. I like Reece Shearsmith as Paul Peter.
Peter.
Mark? Jesus?
Peter. So, like, the other kind of, like, besides the C plot, there's also the B plot and the A plot. So the A plot is the kidnapping. The B plot is the two random Chinese men with curved daggers and meat cleavers.
And a cleaver. It's like, what in the Big Trouble Little China is this? You know?
And then the other plot is Andrew, who is Tracy's stepbrother, who is probably the most hilarious person in this film. Besides,
I actually laugh at Andrew a lot.
Yeah, it's besides, like, you know, Peter's random fear of, like, just shutting down when he sees a moth or, like, multiple moths. Like, Andrew probably is the funniest character, specifically just because, like, literally the first thing is, like, nice hair, Andrew just had it done. Like, as he walks into the titty bar.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's weird because he seems like the most inadvertently trying to be funny. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's just kind of oafish and stupid. Like, he's kind of the clown, I guess.
Yeah.
But, oh, God. But again, I'm like, why the fuck is he even here? Oh, I suppose because they have to do, like, the double cross.
Yeah.
Like, they're crossing the boss. But then, see, there's, like, a scene later. It's where, I'm just going to refer to everybody as their first name, like in real life, because we're big fans of that here on the They Are Here podcast.
Nice plug.
When Andy Serkis eventually gets to the village, he's talking to the boss, but he's in, like, such a weird casual way of, like, yeah, you know, like, it'll be sorted by tomorrow or whatever like that. So I'm like, wait, is he double crossing everybody else with the boss? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And, like, it never comes full circle. And the only thing that we do get out of that scene is Doug Bradley.
Yeah.
In Ned.
Yeah.
You know, we get to see him for like 2 seconds. But Doug Bradley walks on screen. I was like, oh shit, it's Doug Bradley. He's gonna be in this movie. And then they were like, no.
Sure. For context, like, it's very much that scene from American Werewolf in London where they walk into the pub, like, literally, like, I want to say, like, the town of the living undead dead, you know, just appear randomly by the telephone box that he's in, and they're just looking at him going, like, what are you doing here? Strangers don't last long.
Yeah, it's just, it's weird. It's like the movie is going on the assumption that you are assuming that something horrible is going to happen, but it's like, okay, but you have to, like, convey that. Just because you put horror as one of your, like, 5 genres on IMDb or whatever doesn't mean that I'm going to go into it immediately thinking, okay, there's going to be a spooky creature man that lives on the farm or whatever like that, you know? Because they also don't play up the fucking, like, the farm area at all. They just drive through it off screen at the start of the movie. And they don't even refer to, like, oh shit, that little village that we drove through that Andy Serkis was able to just walk up to. It sure was creepy. Also, somebody really wanted Danny Elfman to score this movie, and they could not afford it.
Yes.
What is the Beetlejuice trailer music?
Oh my god, I was...
Yeah. It was very that. To the point where I looked up to see if it was Danny Elfman, because it was very like...
Dun 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 dun.
It really was. What in the Home Alone, Nightmare Before Christmas, spooky Hallowookie, ding dang dookie kind of fucking soundtrack was this? I'm literally just taking a shit on a copy of this movie right now.
I can smell that hot shit that you've just dumped on the TV.
Ooh, I can smell the hot shit.
little bit of corn in there just for good measure.
Yeah.
I didn't have any corn.
I don't remember never eating corn. But, oh, God.
No, so...
I remember eating a copy of the 2008 cult classic, The Cottage. But there it is, in my shit in the toilet bowl. Yeah.
No.
Thanks for listening. As I segue off the screen.
Oh yeah, no. So the thing with the thing with Andrew is that he to me has like I don't want to say it, but like he has that sort of retarded, goofy humor to him.
Oh my God. I knew what you were inferring, but I was like, I wonder what word he's going to use in place of.
Andrew the retard.
But like, you know.
So like he like even his mask, he like before he even like took it out was like, I knew what the joke was as he was putting on his mask to go up the stairs. When he pulled it down, it was like, David, I think I got the wrong one.
Also, in my mind, I'm like, what's that even for? Because it's a ski mask, but the whole entire face is cut out of it. Like, it's just a hat that wraps under your chin, and that's it.
It's great.
Also, one thing that this movie did give me, I was like, you know what? This is going to be the year where I make balaclavas fashion.
Go find some Nordic fashion, and you'll see exactly what that is.
Well, seriously, I'm excited. It's about to happen. Seriously, like a little balaclava with like a little beret on it, you know. Yup, the rat and all that, but
yup, the rat.
It's the year of balaclavas as fashion.
Sure, let's go with that.
You just watch. You just fucking watch, lady.
Oh, it was a rhetorical question. So like this hairdresser. This hairdresser, I still don't even know. He one of the Asian men, shall we say, because it's never confirmed.
Eastern men outside.
Randomly, that have no bearing on the plot whatsoever. Literally pull him out, and they're just both dead off screen. They just die off screen, and you never hear of them again.
And that's it. They literally came on our, like, in my mind though, I'm like, okay, I'm writing a movie. Let's just have two characters that are there. They're there, like, for the entire time off screen, but who don't affect the plot even a little bit. Even a little bit. I think it's just so they wouldn't have to have, like, a 5-person credit scene at the end. Because there's, like, how many people on set? You know, how many fucking characters are actually in this? There's literally, like, her, right, there's her, the two brothers, her stepbrother, Doug Bradley, and, like, 4 townspeople. And a dog. That's it. I don't see, like, all those people that were, and the killer.
Of course.
The guy who's just not in this movie at all. Almost don't even remember what his face looked like. You know, because you can guarantee that all those people standing behind Doug Bradley were just people who weren't, like, doing something on set at that moment.
Yeah, they just randomly walked into the set and were like, what are you doing filming on my street?
Exactly, their set was just Doug Bradley's house. Whereas, like, I think Doug Bradley actually lives, like, 2 minutes from here. We'll give him a call. Yeah, one. Yeah, just come up, I'll be in it for, like, 2 minutes. Yeah, I'll get the family out now.
Yeah, all those women are his bitches. They're just like, they literally just... Oh, God.
Okay, so the killer, right? This killer.
Okay, get into it.
Who is this?
Okay.
And why?
So, I did a little bit of digging on this guy, and basically, what goes on is, he lives in the cottage on his own, until it's revealed at the end that he doesn't. But he basically lives there on his own, specifically just because, he was found by the townspeople. I actually think that the little bit of tidbit history, the tell me tidbits, behind like his storyline is kind of interesting. So basically, what had happened was, yeah, true. What had happened was, basically he has a skin deformation, which basically breaks down, like his face is basically like rotting away because, yeah. So basically, he was. Stop! Can I speak? Can I speak? So basically. Oh, I'll wait.
All your life.
So, he has basically has a skin deformation, and basically his face is like breaking down from the inside out. And he was found by the townspeople, and which is why they warned Andy Serkis's character when he went for the telephone. It was like, you should get out of here quick. Because when he was picked up and he was brought to the farm, there's a letter. I don't know if you remember, there's a scene where Andy Serkis's character reads a letter from, I think it's like one of the kids or something like that. We found the guy with no face, and we took him in.
Oh, the guy with no face.
Yes. Yeah. So like they took him in. They in a way nursed him back to health, showed him how to do farming and blah 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 blah. But he was, not only was he had the kind of skin lesion face thing, he was also a psychopath. So basically he was just like, oh, I got old enough, started killing people off, and then basically the townspeople were afraid of him, and then he killed off parts of the family, and he locked the rest of them down in the basement and only fed them A, dead animals, and B, townspeople. So, yeah.
Oh, that's what all that was at the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like, and I didn't, like, I had to go looking for that, which would have been an interesting part of the plot, but it was never said in the film. The only thing that we got was that little, like, literally that one throwaway line that Andy Serkis reads from, like, a letter or something in a suitcase, and he finds all those like those leather face masks and shit. So yeah.
Seriously, I think this movie, and that's the thing, right? It's not like the idea for this movie is bad, and like it doesn't like look bad. It just seems like there was a lot of ideas that just didn't quite like line up the right way, and like at least for me,
yeah,
you know.
I do think that when it comes to the actual progress of the story, the slowest part is obviously the first half of the film, but I do think it could have cut out at least 20 minutes of that, and it would have made the film better. And I mean, it's only 90 minutes, so it could have been 70 minutes long, and it still would have been better had they cut out like the whole like B plot of the two I want to say like, not security guards, but like the two henchmen of the dad. Do you know what I mean? Like they could have cut that whole thing out, and it would have made it 20 minutes less, and it would have still been a better film.
I think I was kind of saying before, I think I just would have enjoyed this movie a whole lot more if they just shifted around the timeline a little more. Like if they started the movie when like 20 minutes before the end, okay, I'm like explaining this kind of weirdly, but like if that little village area, like where all that was going down, if that was where they initially took her and kind of stumbled upon that and had the whole movie be more of a horror movie, I think that's just honestly why I was like disappointed, because I was like, I want more like horror in this,
Yeah.
because the idea is actually great. Like, I do kind of remember that one line in particular, like the boy without a face or the man without a face. I was like, that's good. Like,
Yeah.
give me more of that.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I think, just shift the timeline forward a little bit, and then give me an hour and a half of horror versus like like an hour and 10 of like, oh my god, we're such idiots, let's kidnap this girl.
Yeah.
And then 20 minutes of horror. You know?
Yeah, I do think, I think honestly I could write a better version of that film myself. Do you know what I mean? Like, it feels like such a basic plot that anyone could probably write that better. Like, I can see the plot starting with them arriving in the town. That whole telephone scene, them calling up the boss saying, "We have your daughter." Them going to the actual killer farmer's house because the stupid brother, the stupid stepbrother was like, "Oh, this is way out of town. No one lives there." He doesn't know that farmer lives there. And then the farmer comes back and all the shit goes down. That would have been a better version of what we got. But I'm guessing what they did want to do is they did want to make you care about care about the characters a little bit more, because I guess they needed a little bit of humanity. Because like you would just, because what would happen is if you were to do it my way, the only person you would really care about is the kidnapped girl. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but they make her so unlikable that you never end up giving a shit about her at all.
Oh yeah.
Because A, you don't ever feel like she's actually in danger.
Yeah.
You know? And then, like, B, she's... I know she's literally a victim, but it's like, oh, could you just shut the fuck up for, like, 2 fucking minutes? Please, bro. Like, you're not making me want to help you. You're not making me root for you. Because she would be the one that I would root for in this kind of movie.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm just like, fucking hell, bro. I could do with, like, 30 characters less in this movie. No, honestly though, I think if it was like just the main 2 brothers, her, and the village people. And the village people and just the people from the village, rather. I think that could have been, like, if it was just a smaller scope, kind of one location, in that farmhouse, I think that would have been really cool. And then the end, I think keep the end kind of the same. Yeah. But, like, it's weird, kind of looking back on it now, the way you described it, I was like, whoa, that actually makes so much more sense. Because at the end, I was like, are those more, like, freakish people? Or, like, what's the deal? Like, is there more, like, is he just a monster? Or, and they're, like, his offspring? Or, like, what the fuck was the crack? Yeah. Because I think, like, you have to show or tell me, like, in movie. Like, your movie shouldn't depend on, like, extracurricular research.
Yeah. So, like,
you know?
The other thing I did notice was all of the bridal photos that the killer has. And basically what he has done is, over the years, he, if he has found, because basically, like, the cottages that are around that area are these kind of, like, how do I explain it? The what's that thing? Like, you know, the honeymoon kind of area of that thing, the ring. So basically, like, all the people down there are brides. They were like newlyweds, pretty much. And basically what happened is that all the photographs, that's why the guy freaks out when Andy Serkis starts to rip the photograph, is because, like, he sees the bride as being like, that's my wife, that's the photograph of my wife, what are you doing, you know what I mean? And so it does make sense, because, like, literally down there is another woman, like, just off center screen of that final shot, and she's still wearing the bride, the dress, like her bridal dress.
You see, that's all the more horrifying. And no joke, that's honestly, like, probably, like, top 2 reasons why I found like Papa Lazarou so scary. It was just like this, like that idea of like, I don't know, like kidnapping, but it's not just like kidnapping. It's like you're my wife. Like I'm not just having you, you know. Yeah. But like I think like exploring that more could have made it so much creepier. Again, I just feel like this movie just had potential. On paper, this movie had potential. I think like it just feels like somebody got like the storyboards mixed up in the wrong order or something like that. Where I'm like, see, give me more of this horror shit just in the middle of the movie. Yeah, but it comes out of nowhere at the end because suddenly there's this like supernatural, creepy fucking monster killer. Yeah, you know, I think there should have been more. I didn't know, more build-up or more like stalking or more like investigation. Like if they had found those bridal pictures half an hour before the movie ended, and then we get more like exploration. Yeah, you know.
So like let's talk about that. So like when shit does go down, basically Tracy has broken free of her bonds. She's like basically like knocked the two of them the fuck out, and she takes Peter as hostage, and they go to they go basically to this farmer's gaff and basically break in, and they're like they fuck around and look for like the telephone and shit like that. But the one thing that got me about this is as soon as like Tracy opens up the like trapdoor and the thing where they see where they hear shit, she gets stabbed to fuck. Like not even like just like she gets stabbed right through the gullet, through the backbone, out through her abdomen, and like literally like piercing all vital organs on the right side of her body, and yet the bitch doesn't bleed out and she's still alive. That to me was just like, that is a kill. Like literally Billy the Butcher from Gangs of New York shows Leonardo DiCaprio this is a kill and fucking stabs the pig through the right side. That is a fucking kill, bro. That's how you kill someone. And she's still alive. It just didn't make... Also, the frozen peas and the hands in the fridge. Excellent. Loved that. It was perfect. Yeah. So it just annoyed me.
There's little moments of this movie where I'm like, okay, that was kind of cool. But like...
They don't redeem it. I'll give it that. Like, if you want to switch off your brain and watch a movie, this is great. But if you're looking for some really good horror, it falls short. It does. It falls short.
I think it's like I almost don't feel like they're trying to hide the fact that they were going for kind of a Shaun of the Dead vibe. Yeah. But the thing where I find Shaun of the Dead to be kind of a perfect like blend of those two, because I think we were saying last week, like with Scream or whatever like that, it's like Scream is a horror movie with comedy elements, whereas like Shaun of the Dead is a comedy with horror elements. It's like, it's just the flip, but I feel like horror and comedy in Shaun of the Dead are exactly on par, because Shaun of the Dead also has genuinely good kills and is genuinely kind of creepy, and feels kind of dystopian, you know, but with this, there's I don't know. I just think, the balance of genre in this movie could have been tipped around a little bit more. Or, do you know what? If they had maybe one more writer on this, because I believe it was also written by the director. Yes. The whole feeling of this felt like, oh, lads, will we make a movie?
Yeah. But to be fair,
it's just for us. Like, I don't feel like this movie was in cinemas ever.
No, it was a straight-to-DVD film. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me you're straight to DVD without telling me you're straight to DVD.
But like you said earlier, like we've never made a film and they made it, and I appreciate the effort that they put into it. Do you know? Because let's be real. There are some really fucking good kills when it gets to it. You know what I'm saying? There are some really good kills. Okay, now hold the fucking phone. You keep saying that your one keeps chatting shit. She literally gets her whole half of her head.
One good kill in a whole horror movie.
Okay, no, hold on. So Tracy, who gets knocked the fuck out because even the farmer is done with her shit. Like literally like KO'd her, and she wakes the fuck up after Peter gets his whole front of his foot shorn off by a goddamn shovel. That's great. That is fucking great gore. I love that. And then she's just like, can't you just fucking kill him? Like, you're such a fucking bunch of pussies around here. And then she gets stabbed to fuck through her mouth. I love that. That was amazing.
Decapitation, yeah. I think a partial decapitation is almost like gnarlier than a full decapitation. We got that in what is it? In Final Destination, Sean William Scott gets kind of decapitated in a like similar way. Piece of shrapnel comes and gets him like that. Like it's like the bottom jaw is just left on. But like, see, I wanted more of that.
But you did. Yeah. Literally, Andrew, the stepbrother, gets his foot nearly completely cut off by a bear trap, which is hilarious. Really? And then he almost gets his foot cut off. And then he's like limping away, and the farmer literally like stabs him through the gullet first, and then drops his ass to the floor and rips out his spine and his head. Very Predator style.
But that's what I'm saying. The two coolest things about this movie I saw in a movie already.
And then...
You know what? I wish this movie was just more straight up referential and kind of was more like a Tucker and Dale versus Evil, kind of like a, oh, we know where you think this is going to go, but here's like a comedic twist on it.
Yeah.
You know? It was kind of...
But also, this farmer has a sense of theatricality because he literally sits in the corner dressed as with a thing thrown around and uses his own face as like a camouflage, which is hilarious. That head just moved. Which one? The ugly one. I love it. I think the last like 20 minutes of this film, for me at least, does save it. You know, I think it does it well. It does the gore. Like, you know me, I'm a total fucking gore nut. And when I see that shit is like super, super bloody, you know, brains splattering, everything, it's great. I love it. And I appreciate the effort that was put into this because everything wasn't special effects. Everything was like on screen done. You know, it was great.
Look, I agree with you on that. Is that like the last 20 minutes of this movie are great.
Yeah.
I just wish the last 20 minutes of this movie were the first, or the last 40 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted more of this ending. Because it also just kind of seemed like, oh, well, it's ending. Here it is, it's over. You know, after I'm like, no, this is like the part that I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for you to get to the kills. And because the trailer made it look... Like, the trailer shows only footage from the last, 15 minutes of this. Because we watched the trailer last week after we recorded for Scream, because I actually hadn't heard of this movie before. I don't know whether you, knew this, from back in the day, or, just found it or whatever like that.
Oh, no, I watched it before, yeah.
Okay. Because I was like, okay, this looks good. It looks kind of like Dale versus Evil, or kind of like a spin on Evil Dead / Texas Chainsaw kind of thing, you know. It seemed like one of those that was aware of the genre. I don't know how many times I can be like, oh, I'm so disappointed.
No, it's true.
I just wanted it just punched up just very, very slightly.
Yeah.
It also it's not a bad looking movie. It's not everybody's doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing, you know, which is their job.
It is. It's executed well. It just could have been. They could have cut 20 minutes from it, or they could have added a little bit more storyline of the farmer to it to create that sense of you're going in the wrong direction, you're gonna die, you know.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. That's my only issue with this movie is just writing. There's just some gaps in this movie where I'm like, fuck. You could have filled that in and had this actually be kind of a really good cult classic. But I'm going to admit, I'd never even heard of this movie before. Like, I was completely unfamiliar with this movie, like, going into it.
Yeah.
So I had no expectations at all.
I mean, specifically just because I hadn't seen it in a long time, I think I remember it being better than it actually was, or than it actually is. You know what I mean?
Was this one of those ones you picked up in Extra Vision because the cover was cool?
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've done that with a movie, fucking Boa versus Python, or like just stupid shit like that, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I think, I just think it could have been executed better. But the deaths of the last two, the brothers themselves, I mean, I really did like how Andy Serkis was just like fully taking advantage of the fact that he just gets speared through the gut and dies like right then and there. It's great. He's just like, I'll fucking rip it if you just let him go. And then he looks so confused at his brother, like, what the fuck, man? And then he dies. It's great.
Yeah, that's what I will say is, like the effects and the kills and stuff in this, like, they're creative and they're cool, and, like, I mean, like, yeah, they are kind of, like, referential, which, again, like, is not a four-letter word for me. Like, I love a reference. It's the foot getting, like, the top of the foot just getting decapitated. It's like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Because it's, like, imagine, like, a human foot, right? But then just, like, an inch or two behind where the toes start, it's just gone. If you were wearing steel toes and somebody just cut the steel toe off, it's, like, really intense. I actually have a couple pairs of steel toes, whatever, that I wear often, but I'm like, the idea of a steel toe doesn't make me feel safe, because if something really, really heavy gets dropped on these, it's not just, okay, yeah, my feet won't be crushed, but the shoe and steel toe are not the same material, so my toe, this could just happen. Like, that's like the danger of wearing steel toes, is that, like, the steel itself won't crush, but it will, like, invert and just slice your feet in half.
Oh.
That's so scary. That's why I do everything barefoot. I go to work barefoot, I get on the bus barefoot. Can you imagine?
Ew, gross. Jesus.
I'm fucking joking. I'm not a fucking savage. Barefoot. I'm always transport.
You know, the one thing I gotta give it props for is that one scene where Peter tries to, how do I say it? Like, tries to crawl towards David when he's pinned to the ground with the pitchfork, and he's like, I'm coming, David! And it's all, like, super heroic music. And then David is just like, this is taking a really long time.
Yeah, and see, just once again, I'm like, fuck, there's so much here that really could have been used so well.
Yeah.
Just one more writer, or I don't know, like, get some of the people who are in successful blends of horror / comedy shows, like one of your, like, main fucking actors.
Yeah. Oh, I totally agree.
Make it just a little bit more League of Gentlemen.
Yeah, it's either go full blown comedy with it or just leave it alone. You know, it tries to be two different things and it fails, I think, at both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just my total sentiment on this movie. It's just like, I just wanted it just a little bit more. Just a little bit more.
I do think that. I agree. The way this is sort of reflected in the way that the farmer himself, quote unquote, dies, because there is an end credit scene. But what they...
Which I did not stick around for. I didn't know.
I only found this out because I looked it up on YouTube and I was like, oh, okay, there's an end credit scene to this. So basically, Peter essentially is the only one left alive after the encounter, and after seeing David being murdered, Peter just kind of lunges at the farmer with, I think it grabs rope or something like that, tries to strangle him, but he falls, as he lunges at him, he falls down the trapdoor. So, like, as he ropes around the farmer's neck, he falls down. So essentially the farmer is, as Peter falls down the hole, the farmer gets pulled down by the neck to the trapdoor and it slams. So like the farmer is like stuck there, essentially not unable to move, and he pulls down I think it's like a china cabinet on top of him or something like that. So essentially he can't move and he's strangled to death, which is great fun. I love a bit of strangulation. And and then essentially, like, it's implied that Peter is eaten alive by these cannibalistic brides that the farmer has collected over the years, which is nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, see, the whole ending just threw me off, where I was like, did this movie just become, like, The Descent or something all of a sudden? Like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, because it is implied that, essentially, because through the photographs, one, then the letter, two, and then, because Peter, when he first enters the cottage with Tracy, he hears all of the shuffling around downstairs in the basement. And, yeah, it's just... It's sort of either needed to be more implied or implied in a way that, like, told you don't go down there, just don't fuck it, whatever you do, don't go down there type of deal.
Yeah, like, have that be the whole plot. Like, have the threat be that I'm just gonna call her Jennifer because, like, whatever her name is. Have the thing be that, like, she is, like, in line to be the next bride. Like, the whole chase is, like, after her or something like that. Like, tie it all up together. That's just, like, everything just seemed kind of like, ooh, what about this? You know, ooh, and then this, and then also this, you know, but it's like, okay, but all of those things have to, like, relate. Well, they don't have to. I mean, you can make a movie, like, whatever you want. But, like, if you want some kind of, like, semblance of coherence, it's like, okay, we got 5 different ideas. How are we all going to actually tie them all up?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. They have to be cohesive, yeah.
Exactly. Like, okay, the idea of like having the brides and stuff like that, and having them be like kind of underneath the house in kind of like a
cave,
in kind of a through kind of way. Yeah, I'm like, that's the movie. That's the movie you want to fucking make, and that's the whole conceit, you know. Because we don't even need this guy to be super horrific, you know. He just needs to be a fucked up guy that, like, does this to women, you know, and have that be the entire threat. But, like, if the threat is debt.
Yeah.
The threat is financial instability for most of this movie. I want to go live on a boat. All right, well, I want Mom's house. Like the movie, you know. But I actually will say, I recognize the poster. The poster for this movie I actually thought was pretty cool, but I never, like, linked them together. The poster is, like, our 3, like, leads, like, mounted on the wall as, like, taxidermy. I think that's so cool.
Yeah,
that's such a cool idea, you know. Like, this movie easily could have just been English text, like Gloucester Chainsaw Massacre, you know. Derbyshire, the Derbyshire fucking, I don't know.
The Worcestershire.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's like, sometimes, with a horror movie, sometimes you just don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
You know, just give us what people have been liking for, like, 100 years.
Very, you know,
true. Not everybody's going to be the next Jordan Peele or the next fucking, you know, James Wan or some shit like that. Just, like, make a shitty horror movie, because chances are I'm going to like it, but this was just boring.
Well, the sort of end credit scene is really...
Oh, God.
Did you see this? Did you see it at all?
Oh, no, Nathan, as soon as this movie ended, I went back to sleep. Let me tell you, I started watching this movie, not yesterday, but the night before. Started watching it at, like, maybe 2 a.m. Literally got 40 minutes into it, decided there was still, like, a good chunk left. I sure did turn my television off and went to sleep, said I'll finish it in the morning. Finished it in the morning, got to the end credits, went straight back to bed, bro. Again, it's like that's also, like, on me, though. It's like, I usually do enjoy to, I think that's actually very out of character. I do usually enjoy to watch a movie, like, as it's supposed to be delivered, you know. But I hadn't the patience. I fucking hate it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it could have been executed a lot better had they decided whether they wanted to be funny or whether they just wanted to go serious, because it did feel very convoluted at times. It did drag on at times. There was useless B plots. Yeah, it could have felt like it could have been about 20 minutes shorter than it was supposed to be, and it could have been like some random episode, like you said, like it could have gone to like some random episode of Hollyoaks or EastEnders or something, and it would have still worked absolutely fine had it been 20 minutes shorter. You know, I think that would have been better.
You know.
But this end credit scene is basically like we're essentially thinking that the farmer is dead. Everybody's dead. Nobody survived this film. Not even not even Dog the Thorn. So like, Mr. Thorn. So basically, the gangster, pimp, drug dealer, whoever it is, basically shows up. Because we never see him in the film. He's behind closed doors the whole time. Yeah, the stepdad. And he basically shows up, and the farmer just comes running out of the house with a pickaxe, like, toward the camera, and it freeze frames. I think it was, like, meant to reference Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because it freeze frames, like, in the same exact way that that Leatherface freeze frames at the end of the original Texas. So, like, yeah, because he's just coming at him with the pickaxe, so it looks exactly like what Leatherface's dance was at the end. So, but it just kind of freeze frames at that, and then it just goes Finn.
I love the fact that, like, and it's one of those things you never really think of, the fact that Texas Chainsaw ends on a dance number. That's 5, 6, 7, hit it. And he's doing, like, baton twirls and shit, like,
boom.
Oh, did you see, speaking of a much better movie, we got our first, like, images of Sally Hardesty again. She's, like, in the new Texas Chainsaw. It's not Marilyn Burns because she died. But, like, I don't know. I think that's kind of cool, though.
Yeah, I think that'll be interesting to see. So, next week, what are we doing?
Next week, oh my god, ew, my god.
Ew, oh my god, you're so excited.
I know, I'm so excited, I'm so hyped. I, like, genuinely am. First reviews have just come out yesterday. And,
positive as fuck.
Positive as fuck. Like, I haven't heard anything bad yet. I've heard, like, exclusively positive stuff, and from sources that I trust as well. Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm curious to see what a Scream movie can be without Wes Craven, because we still have Kevin Williamson. Yeah. You know, and directed by Radio Silence. They did Ready or Not and something else. I think they did like a VHS segment on that movie. But yeah, I trust them. I think it's in good hands. I think as long as you have a solid story, I think you're fine. Yeah,
which this film didn't have. So, yeah, we're going to be reviewing... now, again, it's not a retrospective, so we're going to be reviewing Scream 5 Cream.
5 Cream.
That's how I'm going to refer to it now next week. So, it will be initial reactions. It's just going to be some notes. That's what it is. We're going to just generally have a shy talk about it. It's not going to be like the definitive thing. So if you haven't seen the film, of course, go watch it first before you listen to our episode on it. No spoilers until, all that jazz.
I think a spoiler alert is like, on our channel, a spoiler alert is just always implied at the top of the episode.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, especially with like, new things. I remember when we were talking about Hereditary, and we were like, oh, should we talk about that one scene? Do we need to spoiler alert? And we're like, no, we don't need to bother doing it.
It used to be like 3 hours long. Fucking hell, bro. I edited. And that was an edited episode. Like, we don't even edit the episodes anymore. And they're listenable. Like, I remember, like, at the start when we first started this, they'll be like, yeah, you should totally listen to our Shining episode. It's like 2 hours and 48 minutes long. And it's like, that's like longer than the movie.
So, yeah, hopefully you liked us shy talking this movie, The Cottage, 2008. Go watch it, have a good time, or not. Make
it's
sure.
The perfect thing to put on if you want somebody to like check their watch and be like, do you know what? I think I better go. It's a fabulous deterrent. Oh wait, we didn't get a human chair of the week. I'm looking at them, because Andy Serkis is a very, very like pretty man. He's quite cute. He's very handsome. I think we're gonna go Reece Shearsmith though. I always thought he was cute from League of Gentlemen. Kind of adorable.
Oh my god. Well, fair enough. Human chair of the week, Reece has it, so that's good.
I would have said Doug Bradley if he was in it for more than like I could literally count the seconds that Doug Bradley was on screen for. And that's it.
I agree. I think it works and then it doesn't work. So
and then Doug Bradley.
Yeah.
It works. Doesn't work.
I mean, the next Doug Bradley is going to be trans, so that's fine with me.
Oh, now that's what I'm fucking actually. If we're talking about shit we're looking forward to in the future, I'm genuinely really excited for the new Hellraiser show.
Yeah, me too.
It should be great.
Yeah. So, thanks for listening. Let us know what you thought in the comments below. Yeah, good, cool story, bro.
Was it?
So make sure to like, subscribe, follow us on our Instagram page for some daily updated content, and next week we will be reviewing Scream. That's gonna be a good time.
Just before we go, just very, very quickly before we go, I'm looking at the cast list. Doug Bradley is credited as villager with dog. That is so fucking rude.
Do you think they paid him?
Everybody else gets a name. Chun Yo Fu and Muk Lee San also, they get names, you know? They're not even in it, really.
Oh, God. They did Doug Bradley dirty.
They did. Now, get me out of this fucking episode.
Get me out of this cottage. I want to go back to civilization. Alright, so you've been listening to They're Here podcast.
I'm out of here.
I love it.
Unpleasant dreams, or just watch this movie.
Okay, bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for flying with us. Is this your bag?
Bye.
Is this your bag?
I dropped my phone.